This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 1833, Discover Your World, Ways to Live Present, by Danae Smith of thiswondrouslife.com, and I'm Justin Malik. Happy Thursday if you're listening in real time, and welcome back to Optimal Living Daily, or OLD, where I read blogs to you. Pretty simple premise, I think. So with that, let's get right to it and continue optimizing your life. Discover Your World, Ways to Live Present, by Danae Smith of thiswondrouslife.com. Discovering your world is closely linked to living present, and both are an intentional act. There's a mindfulness behind them. I won't pretend it's the easiest thing to do. It's not. We live in a time where we are bombarded with stuff and it's easy to be distracted. Culture moves quickly and wants things instantly. To silence the noise and zoom in on where you are takes practice. It's a steady, day-by-day process. It doesn't happen overnight. I've been pursuing a more present life for a little over 3 years, and I'm still learning and growing. Now taking time to live present has invited me into a process of discovering my world, and in this journey, I found myself to be more grounded and content. Some days are better, even easier than others. For context, I live very close to the city and spend most of my days there. Living in or near a city and trying to live present is basically being a salmon swimming against the current. It's counterculture. So, how do we do this? How do we live present, mindful, taking time to discover our world when we live in a time that is fast-paced and filled with so much? Solid question. I believe there are a few ways. Some are small while others are pretty daunting, but totally worth it. I figured I'd share ways you can make living present and discovering your world an active part of your life. It's not a long list, but these are things I've learned, some I've tried, and some I plan on doing. Go walking without listening to music or a podcast. I work in the city, and this is something I try to do as often as possible when I go to grab my morning coffee or take an afternoon leg stretch. Walking to my favorite coffee shop with the sounds of the city as my playlist challenges me to pay attention to the little things and simply listen. Take a different route to your favorite spots. Sometimes to find joy or even discover something new requires a new perspective on a familiar thing or space. Driving or walking a different way than your usual is a great way to discover your world. When you take this different route, pay attention to things you see. Unplug for a day or a weekend. This is completely inspired by Ro and E of Brown Kids. They're a dope vegan minimalist couple who challenges the mess out of me every time I see their posts. About 2 weekends ago, they challenged their IG community to unplug for the weekend, whether it was 1 hour, a day, or the whole weekend. Unplug in the sense meant all things electronic. No cell phones, no laptops, no Wi-Fi, no social media, nada. Just you and your world without all the distractions. I did it for a day, and I found myself more present. I spent time with a heart friend and even worked on my novel. It was hard, and I'm pretty sure I finessed it, but it's definitely something I will consider doing quarterly. Sometimes you just need a break away so you can fully show up where you are. Take a week-long social media break. I've done this intentionally and unintentionally to the point that my time on social media is super decreased, especially on my personal pages. This ties into the unplugging bit, but let's be real, social media, as amazing and powerful as it is, also holds every temptation and comparison trap. There are days I'll find myself mindlessly scrolling through people's feeds, ogling their highlight reels. A lot of times this just invites comparison to come and get really comfy in my mind and heart, and honestly, doesn't profit me anything. Try taking a week-long break from your Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter. Turn off the notifications from those apps or just delete them altogether. Take note of how different your day is. Notice what makes it hard and the amount of time you find you have. Wake up early and follow and watch the sunrise. Nature is a beautiful teacher when it comes to being present, slowing down, and relishing the details. There's something magical about being up when the sun is rising and nature is waking up as well. I challenge you to wake up early one day and watch the sunrise. Follow it and witness how the world responds. For one day, try and pay attention to the details of your everyday tasks. Write down what you see. This is a very intentional task, but I have found in paying attention to the details of the mundane, I find and discover something new. Try observing your world, your habits. Look at the details of when you make a cup of coffee in the morning or get dressed for work. Whatever tasks you do every day out of habit or routine, pay attention to them, celebrate them. Be a tourist in your own city or town. I live near Washington, D.C., and it is so easy to forget that I live near and work in such an influential place teeming with hidden spots and history. Being intentional to discover my city is such a key to living present and also finding joy where I am. I love to travel and desire to live in a different city in the future. It is to crave that adventure and completely dismiss the beauty and gold right in front of me. I encourage you wherever you live, whether it's a city or a small town, be a tourist where you live. Get away to a nearby town, do day trips, or find out all the things tourists do where you live and do them. When we intentionally put ourselves in the shoes of someone else or pursue discovery from a different angle, the joy found in a place so familiar to us gets to be something we tap into and experience as well, not as a distant observer, but an active participant. Discovering our world, living present, is not mere talk. It gets to be an active part of our lives. To live in constant pursuit of finding the gold where we are, being mindful of our surroundings, is freeing, to say the least. You just listened to the post titled, Discover Your World, Ways to Live Present by Danae Smith of thiswondrouslife.com. I'll have some comments, but first, do you ever feel like you're in your own way? That you're the biggest obstacle standing between you and your happiness? While searching for happiness is a journey and not a destination, sometimes we need a professional to speak with without being uncomfortable. And when that happens, BetterHelp is here for you. BetterHelp can assess your needs and match you with your personal, licensed, professional therapist, providing a safe and private online environment for you at your convenience. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. Now, BetterHelp is not self-help. It is professional counseling where everything you share with your therapist will be confidential. They also offer financial aid, which makes it more affordable for everyone. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/optimal. Join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/optimal. And thank you to Danae. Always funny when a tip I read is to do something without listening to a podcast. That's fair. I agree. There is a time and place for it. If we're constantly bombarding ourselves with information, it just becomes noise. But using it intentionally can be super beneficial. Like, I'll listen to podcasts in various situations, sometimes driving, sometimes not though. Sometimes when I'm exercising, but again, sometimes not. And sometimes when I'm playing with my little 8-month-old boy. He's a cat, not a human, by the way, and trying to get his energy out so he won't go crazy. Again, sometimes not, though. Sometimes I'll just sit there and play with him. And that's what I like about her tips. Try a break from a podcast on a walk, or a break from social media for a day, or a week, or a month. Unplug for a day or a week. That'll be very difficult, though, depending on your situation. These are all little sort of adventures and things to try that can really add up. And I'll just try one if you can, the one that resonated most with you. You'll never know how you feel after until you try it. So let me know how it goes. I'll leave it there for today. Thank you for being here. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back for the Friday show tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.